Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Butler University on this beautiful afternoon. We're so glad to have you here, especially given the fact that you had relatively short notice. We are here today to make a very special announcement, one that will have a very good, wonderful, profound effects on Butler University in coming years. Here to make that announcement is President Jim Danko. Jim?
Well, thank you, Craig, and good afternoon, everyone. It's good to see you here. Let's just cut to the chase. I won't bury the lead here. I'm pleased to announce that Butler University will join the Atlantic 10 Athletic Conference beginning with the 2013-2014 season. Before I talk about the advantages and some of the decision-making process that went into that, I do first want to acknowledge the great success and experience that we've had in the Horizon League. We have great respect for the schools we've been involved with in the Horizon League. Been wonderful for myself working with the presidents of those leagues, and I know Barry's had a great experience with the athletic directors, so we really want to acknowledge them. I want to thank the commissioner, John LaCrone, for all of his work as well. So I'll provide some insights into what's transpired here, although it's been amazing to watch it play out in the media too. But I'll tell you some of the thought process that went into it. How we approach the opportunity. Certainly, first and foremost, when such opportunities are presented to you, you have to take a look at it within the framework of how that opportunity might push you or challenge you, just like we expect our student athletes to push themselves and to challenge themselves and to reach for higher and higher goals and higher aspirations. We too, as an institution, think that way. So it's very important for us as we looked at the opportunities that was presented to ourselves to think a bit about how that will challenge our university, how that will help play into our strategy and our future vision for Butler University. And to us, indeed, this was an opportunity to push ourselves a bit, to challenge ourselves. So that was an overarching concern during all of the deliberations and assessment of the opportunity. Certainly, too, what has been very important for Butler and will always be important for Butler is that we think about the consistency of values that a new conference provides for you. And there's a lot of consistency between the values that we have found in the Atlantic 10 and things that have been so important to us here at Butler University as well, especially around the success of our student athletes and to make sure that academic performance remains a priority. So we see that in the move to the Atlantic 10. So those are two overarching considerations for us, how it pushes us as an institution and how the consistency of values were there for the opportunity that was provided to us as well. We were very pleased as we looked at the different teams, colleges that are in the Atlantic 10, to see a high percentage of graduation rates, really an extraordinary high rate of success with their athletes in terms of classroom performance, very consistent again with Butler. That was an important element of the decision as well. The other thing, obviously, which is important to us is that the experience of our athletes is a very positive one. As you could imagine, the distance was a discussion as we deliberated this a bit because we are going to be dealing with schools that are on the East Coast, and that provides a bit more distance for our athletes to travel. We took a good look at that, and indeed we needed to make sure that we were prepared to make an investment, increase our travel expense so that our students were not going to miss any more classes moving into a new conference than they would have at our former conference. So that was an important element, and we've been assured that indeed the opportunity for our students to be here and to not affect in any way, in any negative way, their classroom experience was at the highest standard for us as well. So that was an important part of the conversation. We're also very excited to be dealing with a group of schools that provide a new level of reputation and recognition, especially on the East Coast. There's some outstanding institutions in there, as you know, institutions, frankly, that we've been aligned with in the past as well. So for us, it's very exciting to be in with a number of private schools that are consistent with the way we approach education here at Butler University. So that was another exciting dimension as well. So when we put all the pieces together, and we had very in-depth conversations across campus, certainly with our trustees, with our faculty, with our staff, with our leaders. Obviously the athletic department has been looking at this in a number of different ways. We really did reach the conclusion that we wanted to push ourselves into this league. We wanted to challenge ourselves in terms of where we were going as an institution, and we are extremely pleased with the move that we're making here today. And with that, I'm going to maybe call up to the microphone Jim to help lead us through some questions that might be on your mind. So thank you very much.
Thank you, President Danko. We'll open up for questions now. If you'll raise your hand, we'll call on you. Please direct your questions to an individual, and we'll answer them as best as possible. Yes, Tom?
Right after we learned how to turn on the microphone. Can you turn all these on? Well, you know what? You might have noticed that the athletic conference landscape has been changing over the years, and more recently has kind of hit a higher pace of change with the Big East, ACC, Big 12, and all of those. And over time, and this is not unusual. This is not a different effect this time around from that, but this has been something that is we've been studying. Whether this opportunity was going to come to us or not was unknown for a long time, but the decision-making process was very thorough, and we did our due diligence in trying to make sure that we had as much of the information as we possibly could have. The great thing about this is the challenge competitively that we believe our student athletes and coaches will step up to in what amounts to a significant challenge. But we like that. We anticipate that if you're a competitor, you want to be in those situations and challenge yourself. So we see that as a big benefit here. But in terms of this opportunity, it really is, a very recent decision, and the process was very thorough, though. Well, we'll leave the A10s and the details of how we got into it and when we got into it. Really, we'll leave that alone. But needless to say, there's an enthusiasm in the A10 for our move to join that conference, and we too are very excited. Well, one thing as you may know, is we reside in historic and beloved Hinkle Fieldhouse, and so we have what we consider an advantage with that facility anyway. There are a number of, one of the things that we shouldn't miss is the fact that we are constantly trying to improve ourselves and have been doing this in the Horizon League. This is not a matter of we had hit a plateau and wanted to just stay where we are. So with the resources that you mentioned, facilities and operating and staffing and financial aid, all those things, those are always on our radar as important pillars to our success. So we will continue to improve those. But there are many similarities existing now with the schools in the A10 and Butler University. And so we don't, obviously we're going to go longer distances for some of those competitions. Interestingly, the competitions are the formats are different in the A10. It's not exactly the same double round robin that we see so much in our current league, in the Horizon League. So we'll have some expense there, but as President Danko mentioned, we are about doing things in the right way, putting academics first and keeping our student athletes supported in a way that allows them to reach their goals and to be highly successful in everything they do, especially their academic work. Correct. This is the official date will be July 1 of 13, so this will be for the 13-14 school year and seasons.
Yeah. Well, again, part of the conversation was within the larger strategy and vision of Butler University, which it's a conversation since my arrival 9 months ago has been rather intense. We've been having some very long and in-depth conversations with our Board of Trustees about what Butler University will become. You know, we are at a great point in our history in terms of the recognition that the university has received, not only for athletics, but for its academics as well. The last couple of years, our applications are up 42%. Right now, we're sitting on the largest number of incoming students that we've ever had, largest number of applications we've ever had. We're getting a great deal of national recognition for our university. So that's the larger context of where we're at. So when you think about the financial impact, our budget is going to grow overall. So it's not a matter of that we're going to be worrying about funding this out of a fixed piece of pie. Indeed, we really do see our university progressing in a number of areas. So, but we certainly took this into account as we did that. You actually did a pretty good analysis Sunday when you looked at the finances involved with the move, and in some ways, you know, when you're projecting future finances, you're putting a budget together. It's not an exact science. You do your best to understand some things, but there are some unforeseen circumstances as well. But I probably would refer you to your own article as a pretty good outline of some of the expenses that were there. I enjoyed reading it, and I passed it on to some other people too, as a matter of fact. Barry and his staff has done a